Sure, here's a vivid 5-minute commentary style story on the history, present, and future of Lake Merritt in Oakland, California, written in a warm, real, and slightly urban voice. Lake Merritt, the heart of the town, nestled right in the middle of Oakland. It's more than just a body of water, it's the city's pulse. Joggers pass strollers, lovers hold hands under the sunset, and families gather under old oaks that have seen generations grow up. But beneath all that beauty, there's history, deep history. Murky, sometimes messy, but always real. Back in the 1860s, this lake wasn't your typical man-made scene. It was actually a tidal lagoon, a coastal estuary that breathed with the rhythm of the bay. In 1870, Dr. Samuel Merritt, Oakland's mayor at the time, decided to dam the tides and create the first official wildlife refuge in the United States. That's right. Lake Merritt became a sanctuary before national parks were even a thing. Ducks, geese, egrets, they all came through, wild and free. The lake was a natural gathering point long before gentrification or First Fridays. But let's keep it a buck. The water got funky over time. Oakland grew fast, and with it came sewage, runoff, and pollution. The lake turned cloudy, smelly even. People used to joke you'd catch something just walking too close to the edge. Decades of city neglect didn't help either. By the 1880s and 90s, Lake Merritt was known for everything but being clean. But the people, they never gave up on it. Fast forward to today, and it's a whole new vibe. Thanks to Measure DD passed in 2002, a $198 million bond measure, Oakland put real money behind restoration. They reshaped the shoreline, opened up the 12th Street Dam so tides could flow again, and brought nature back into balance. Now, the lake glistens most days. Kids ride scooters on the path, folks pull up with portable speakers, and drum circles catch the beat as the sun goes down behind downtown. But here's the dream: swimming. Imagine that. Oaklanders, from east to west, diving into their own lake on a hot summer day. No more driving to Lake Temescal or Crown Beach. Just the town, cooling off in its own waters. It's possible, but it's going to take work. First, the water quality's got to level up. There's still too much urban runoff, oils, chemicals, trash that slides into the lake from the streets when it rains. We need better green infrastructure, more rain gardens, bioswales, permeable pavement, and the storm drains. They need filters, nets, and routine cleaning. It ain't glamorous, but that's how you make the water safe. Second, community involvement. If people care about something, they protect it. Let's get schools teaching lake ecology, artists painting educational murals, and locals leading cleanup crews like it's a block party. We already got the energy. Just look at how the lake comes alive on Sundays. And third, political will. City Hall's got to prioritize this. Swimmable means regulation, signage, lifeguards, designated zones. That takes vision and budget. But if cities like Boston, New York, and even Paris are making urban swimming possible, then Oakland, gritty, resilient, revolutionary Oakland, can do it too. The future? It's kids doing cannonballs off docks, aunties floating in inner tubes, teens jumping in with full sneakers on after playing ball. Lake Merritt as a space that doesn't just reflect the city, but embraces it. We owe it to the past, to Dr. Merritt and the birds. We owe it to the present, to the community that's held this lake down through it all. And we owe it to the future, to make sure the lake stays alive, not just as a backdrop for selfies, but as a living, breathing part of the people. So yeah, Lake Merritt, yesterday's lagoon, today's gathering place, and maybe tomorrow's town pool. Let's make it happen. Let me know if you'd like. Absolutely. Here's a longer and more detailed version of the commentary style story about Lake Merritt with deeper history about its development from the natural slough and tidal lagoon era to damming, urbanization, and ideas for a swimmable future. Uh, Tone is engaging, slightly urban, real, and informative. Lake Merritt, the jewel of Oakland. But before it was a lake, before the joggers and gondolas and Sunday drum circles, it was something wild. Back in the old days, way before the first Spanish ships sailed into the bay, what we now call Lake Merritt was a slough, a vast marshy tidal lagoon. It wasn't static water. It moved, slow and steady, breathing with the rhythm of the tides. Creeks from the East Bay Hills came pouring down through the canyons: Glen Echo Creek, Saucil Creek, Trestle Glen Creek, Temescal Creek, all of them weaving through redwood forests, tool-filled lowlands, and finally draining into the slough. This slough was a living thing. It stretched and shrunk with the tide. Twice a day, the water would rise as salt water from the San Francisco Bay surged in, then fall as it flowed back out, taking fish, nutrients, and whatever else with it. The Ohlone people, Oakland's original residents, fished here, hunted waterfowl, and lived with the land, not over it. But in the 1800s, everything started to shift. Oakland was young and growing fast. After the gold rush, everyone was looking west, and this little corner of the East Bay started getting carved up. Enter Dr. Samuel Merritt, a wealthy, politically connected man who served as Oakland's 13th mayor. In the 1860s, Merritt saw the potential of that tidal slough, not just as a resource, but as a centerpiece. In 1868, he proposed damming the outlet where the water connected to the bay, right where 12th Street crosses now, and turning that marshland into a man-made lake. He had big dreams, a picturesque lagoon surrounded by promenades and fine homes. And like that, development began. The dam was built near the mouth of the channel, a stone and timber structure meant to trap water inside and block the free tidal flow. It created a permanent body of water, still brackish, but much more contained. That's how the slough became Lake Merritt. In 1870, just 2 years later, something revolutionary happened. The California state legislature designated it the first official wildlife refuge in the United States. Long before Yosemite or Yellowstone were protected, Lake Merritt became a safe haven for migratory birds and waterfowl. The lake was suddenly both a human invention and a nature preserve. A contradiction? Maybe, but very Oakland. Still, the lake had its challenges because even though it looked pretty from afar, the reality underneath wasn't as clean. The city grew around it, dumping sewage, garbage, and industrial waste into the same waters that once teemed with life. By the early 20th century, Lake Merritt had become an open-air sewer in parts. The natural creeks were buried in culverts, roads and railways cut through wetland, and the original marshland, mostly gone, drained and paved over. The dam, while iconic, also made things worse over time. It restricted natural flow. Tides no longer flushed out the lake completely. Sediment built up. The ecosystem struggled. And by the 1950s, swimming in the lake? Out of the question. But still, the people didn't abandon it. By the 1960s and 70s, as the civil rights era swept through Oakland, Lake Merritt became a different kind of landmark, not just environmental, but cultural. It was a place of protest, community, celebration. People still gathered. The rhythm of the city found its echo in the water. Then came Measure DD in 2002. Oakland residents voted overwhelmingly to approve nearly $200 million to restore and revitalize Lake Merritt and its surroundings. This wasn't just a facelift, it was a resurrection. Engineers and environmentalists worked together to reopen the tidal channel at 12th Street. They didn't destroy the dam, but they modified it, built tidal gates that allowed salt water to flow back into the lake again. For the first time in over a century, the slough started breathing again. They restored creeks, planted native plants, ripped up concrete where they could, birds came back in bigger numbers, water quality improved. The lake wasn't perfect, but it was healing. Now, on any given day, Lake Merritt is alive. You got Tai Chi in the morning, kids chasing geese, lovers walking hand in hand at dusk. You got the lights strung around the shore, the necklace of lights, first turned on in 1925, reborn again. You got food trucks, hip-hop dancers, moms pushing strollers, elders feeding pigeons, and someone always preaching on a mic. But here's the vision: a future where you can actually swim in Lake Merritt. Dive in right here in the heart of the town. Is it possible? Yeah, but it'll take work. First, we got to address stormwater runoff. Every time it rains, oil, brake dust, pesticides, all that flows from the streets into the lake. We need to expand green infrastructure, bioswales, rain gardens, permeable pavement to filter that junk before it ever reaches the water. Second, sewage infrastructure upgrades. Oakland has some old pipes, and during heavy storms, overflow sometimes hits the lake. That's got to be eliminated entirely if we want safe, swimmable water. Third, test the water regularly and educate the community. Let folks know when it's safe, what's changing, and how to help. Imagine youth programs teaching kids to test pH levels. Imagine job training around restoration work. Imagine swim clubs and float parades. It won't happen overnight, but this lake, this old tidal slough turned city centerpiece, has already transformed before. The Ohlone fished here. The settlers reshaped it. The people of Oakland reclaimed it. And the next chapter? That's ours to write. Imagine a future where Lake Merritt is more than just something pretty to walk around. Imagine it as a living, breathing, swimmable heart of the town, where the water is as vibrant as the people who surround it. Let's get to work.